Hey, what's up? This is Chris Luecke from the Manufacturing Happy Hour podcast. We're back from one of our final interviews here on day 3 of Automate, and I am joined by Carl Doeksen of 3M. Welcome, Carl. It's good to have you
Hey,
here.
Chris, great to be here.
And we were chatting a bit before the interview. We all have our perspectives of what 3M does, right? Scotch tape, Post-it notes. We all know that. We all have it in our homes.
Yeah.
So my question is, what does 3M do in the robotic space? Let's start off there, and we'll get into some of the details after that.
Great question. I get asked that question a lot. And, 3M, we're very much known for our consumer products. Like you mentioned, the brands, Post-it, Scotch. However, at its core, really, 3M's an industrial company. The big business in 3M is industrial B2B. And of course, to supply those industrial customers, we have, 240 factories around the world. So some pretty complex supply chains. We use a lot of robots, and we're very thankful for the automation industry, to help us automate our own factories. But what I'm driving within 3M and outside of 3M and here at events like this is much more about those industrial customers. People that have a need for applications 3M really understands. So what are some of those applications that 3M really understands and can help people with? Well, grinding, deburring, sanding, polishing, dispensing adhesives, glue, structural tapes, applying films in some cases. These are applications that we really understand, and we've always worked with these customers and their human operators.
Yeah.
I'd say pre-pandemic, 6-7 years ago, we really started to see the inquiries coming in. We love your products, we love these, we need to do it though with robots. And so that deep domain expertise that we have in those applications, that's where we add value. That's what I'm driving, that's what our booth here at Automate is all about.
Yeah, and just to go even deeper in history, right? 120 years of heritage, but I mean, this is really, to an extent, where you started. You're wearing an abrasive systems division shirt. Like, take us back to the history, because this is, I think this will open up people's minds around 3M in this space even more.
It's an American institution. The 3M stand for Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing, even though the official name is now 3M. But the first product was sandpaper. And as a result, there was a lot of demand for sandpaper in industrial plants, metalworking, woodworking, and of course, the automotive industry. And for its first 30, 40 years, that was 3M's only product. But that eventually, the people making the sandpaper thought, hey, we just take the mineral off, masking tape. 3M invented masking tape and all the other tape families, eventually also inventing the medical tapes that are used, magnetic media, Scotch brand recording. You don't see that much anymore, but that was a big deal many years ago. But the core of 3M, it's really it's a material science company. And so I always say we're an army of chemists and chemical engineers, material science. So what are you doing at this here? It's mechatronics, right? And we have to understand mechatronics, mechanical, electrical engineering more, because that's the future of how our products are going to be used and consumed.
Yeah.
It's going to be now an industrial robot arm, not a human operator. We love human operators, obviously, but let's face it, it's very difficult, we know, for our own customers to find anybody to do any sort of work, let alone a dirty, dusty, dangerous job like grinding all day long. It's a very, very difficult job to do.
So then I got a couple questions I could ask you, but let's look future, right? You're talking about getting rid of the dirty, dull, dangerous jobs. What does the future of robotics look like at 3M and for the people you serve in this capacity?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I like to kind of set the parallel, and I by the way, I've been at 3M for 34 years. So I've been
You've
there.
seen a few things.
I've seen a few things, and I've called on a lot of factories, mainly our own factories, but certainly our customers' factories. And one of our biggest customers is the automotive industry. Is a very important industry to us. And when I first started visiting automotive factories, human operators were painting the cars, wearing spraying, if you can believe that. I know it's hard to believe. Also, human operators doing spot welding. And so now when you walk through an automotive assembly plant, it's all robots doing the painting, spraying the undercoating. For the most part, the welding is all done by robots. And however, sanding, grinding, polishing, pretty much is all done by human operators still in automotive assembly. So those customers, that's just one example where they're saying, we need the lights out paint shop is definitely something that industry is chasing right now. And so they look at dozens, in many cases hundreds of human operators in close quarters sanding a car with sandpaper and jitterbug, random orbit sanders. That I really, like I've told my kids, I have young kids, when they are working for 3M and they go into an automotive assembly plant, they'll be here telling you, they used to be people, can you believe people used to do sanding by hand? I mean, really, those applications, the technology's all there now. And we need to help the ecosystem, the system integrators, and the robot companies, and the customers de-risk these applications, because it's just not, they're just not broad applications in the robotics industry like these other ones I was talking about, like painting or welding. I mean, those are very much understood, the economics, how an integrator makes money in those situations, it's very well understood. And so we're playing a role with our application expertise to help those partners, de-risk, make sure they don't get burned on a big grinding job. That's really where we fit in.
I was going to ask you how you do it, but you just added that part in there. So my other question is, we have an event coming up in July, 3M and A3, the Grinding and Finishing Conference. Why is now the time to launch an event like this?
Yeah, well, actually, we've been doing that event off and on over the years. Prior to A3, it was the RIA.
Oh,
we had
a
grinding and conference in Minneapolis, but it's really grown now. And the last one we did was in 2018.
Okay.
And it's been on ice, quite frankly, because of not because it's in Minnesota, but because it's
great pun. Well done.
It's the pandemic.
Understood.
It had to be rescheduled a couple of times, and now finally we've cemented it in the last week of July. It's also the week of 3M's PGA event, the 3M Open, and so we're really tied into that, and it's a time of the year, July in Minnesota, when it's nice weather.
I live down the road in Milwaukee. I understand.
2-3 months out of the year,
it's the
that
prime
is one
time.
week, and we have some fun with the robots at the hospitality and technology tents out on the golf course, but there's 2 days, July 25th, 26th, of all the industry-leading ecosystem partners. These are system integrators, robot OEMs, end effector companies. Get up and talk about this emerging application, robotic abrasive processing, that is, it's really arguably white space. Not a lot of people are doing it, but we've done a lot of research. We've got a line of sight, not if, but when it's going to be a mainstream application, like welding or painting or assembly or dispensing. The technology's all there, and an event like this, it really helps system integrators or these end user customers get up to speed faster and get these specific grinding, polishing, sanding, deburring applications running, connect the dots with the right partners.
Build.
It's who's who in the U.S. robotics industry will all be there in Minneapolis.
And to your points, it helps build that awareness. It helps, and that can help with the de-risking aspect of things. So it's really cool to see all the things you're doing in this space. You've taken us through 3M's history in this space, what you're doing now, both internally and externally with your clients. You know, Carl, is there anything you wish I would have asked you on this topic that we haven't covered yet?
Well, you know, and I was in this morning's keynote. I brought this question up with the keynote speaker too. And one thing I'm really passionate about is robotics for the small, medium-sized business. The 5-man shop, the 1-man shop, small metal fabrication, automation. Now is at a point where, you know, the cost of a robot, especially a collaborative robot, has come down. They're getting easier to program, and what I'm most excited about is that future where robots help out in high mix, you know, low volume environments. And you know, it's fun to see some of the partners here as I walk the show, completely different than 5-10 years ago. People that are genuinely focused on that customer base, bringing automation to that small account. Not, you know, it used to be, how many robots are you going to buy? Well, if you're not going to buy 100 robots, our salespeople aren't going to talk to you. Now there's a genuine interest. It's a big untapped market for the industry, the small accounts.
Do you get the vibe that we're at like an inflection point where the tidal wave is about to hit and people are going to start flocking to get these robots, these smaller mom and pop shops?
I think probably not a tidal wave. I think it will evolve as more integrators, and there's a few of them out on the floor. We kind of call them distribugators. You know, there's sort of a hybrid, not really an integrator, but not really a distributor, but they serve that market where somebody can get that just one robot cell for their shop. That you're starting to see more of that. There's not enough there. It's coming, but eventually we'll see it. It's kind of like the computer industry. You know, it used to be you could only get a computer if you were a giant company, and now everybody has a computer, right? For sure, the end game in robots is going to be something very much like that, where there's a robot on every desk or a robot in every garage almost. You know, absolutely.
I like that comparison. I like the story arc you've taken through here. Carl, it's been great having you on, and I know everyone out there that's focused on A3 is going to be hopefully making that trip out to visit you in Minnesota real soon.
Excellent. We welcome you. Yeah, summer's a great time in July.
No doubt. Well, hey, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow back here at Automate Live.